Okay. Down to business. I got my wild cherry Diet Pepsi, and I got my blackjack gum here, and I got that feeling. Yeah, that familiar feeling that something rank is going down out there.
Watch your life pass by you. Look at a face that now disguises you. Stop to wonder where the time's gone by, 'cause
new album In the End. That was Nothington with The Lies I Need. And we opened up the show with Higley from their self-titled full-length debut with the song That's Not Me. Higley is this really freaking awesome band. It's started by Kevin Carl from Gee Whiz fame. It's first new music he's put out in over 2 decades. And he got together with some good friends, including Bill Stevenson from All Descendants fame, and a couple years ago recorded a couple songs, put them out on Bandcamp. This happened to be one of them, but this is a new version. They went back into the studios. There were some lineup changes, re-recorded the song with the new vocalist, and it is incredible. The entire album is just sick. The whole thing is if you're a fan of melodic punk, pop punk, that kind of thing, if you're a fan of bands like the Ataris, All Descendants, Pulley, Gee Whiz, any of that stuff, you really got to check this band out. I can't recommend it highly enough. And on top of that, Kevin is a super nice guy, so it's worth checking out. You can find them all over the interwebs. Just do a search for Higley Punk Band, and they're on the Bandcamp and all that good stuff. This is the Oklahoma Lefty Podcast. It's episode number 8. It's Monday. I did it again. God. See, I had to re-record this because I forgot to put my microphone down, so it was all sounding like I was like in another room. And when I did that before and I tried to tell the date, I said it was September. It's not September. It's February. Fucking feels like September damn near, because it's Oklahoma and we have crazy ass weather, it being in the 70s in September. Fuck me. Really? This is how it's going to be this morning. I can already tell. So, anywho, February 20th, 2017, as I record this, it drops in the middle of the night, so we'll hear this later on during the week. Not that anyone cares. Want to give a big shout out to DeForesters. Pod was on the show last week. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, it's episode 7. You can hit that up at oklahomalefty.com. Another cool thing, you can now listen to the Oklahoma Lefty Podcast on Stitcher Radio. So if you use Stitcher to get all of your podcasting, which is the app I actually primarily use, I love Stitcher. So we got the show on there last night, and it's freaking good to go, so that's awesome. Another place to listen. Later on, we're also going to talk about our giveaway we have right now. Giving away free copies of Avalanche's... the album is Dear Avalanche from Lights in Motion from Deep Elm Records. We got a giveaway for digital copies of that. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. And let's go ahead and jump into some more music. So right now, we're going to play something from the Bouncing Souls. They wrote and recorded a new song right after the presidential election last year, and it is a very fitting and poignant song for the moment. It's called Battleground, and with everything the Bouncing Souls do, it's uplifting, it's empowering, and it's an anthem in the truest sense. I don't think there is a band alive today, if ever, that has done the punk rock anthem quite as well as the Bouncing Souls. So yeah, this is Battleground here on the Oklahoma Lefty Podcast.
slide, and we're back on the night. Even though the girls all hate you so bad, and even though I was there, I could see that you just couldn't care. Even though I want you more than so bad, and even though I was there, when you're wrong, I'll tell it out. I know that you just wanna turn around and scream and shout away. Little time, you could be back here with me before the next line, and we're back. We're back, we're back, we're back, we're back, back on the night, back on the night, back on the night, back on the night.
It was 5 miles home, which I could walk if I was alone, but the kids couldn't carry their weight. We've been running round all day, trying to get weekly pay from the unsupportive welfare state. Can't believe it when I got to the front of the queue, 'cause it was 3 days before our money would come through. Our bus fares weren't much, but I was shit out of luck, and it's hard to stay strong with no food. Well, I always hated seeing my mother cry. With that in mind, I turned from my children and tried to picture a better life. I always hated seeing my mother cry. With that in mind, I turned from my children and tried to picture a better life that's not mine. We look for money on the pavement. We look for money on the street. When you try to talk to strangers, the words get stuck behind your teeth. Well, I always hated seeing my mother cry. With that in mind, I turned from my children and tried to picture a better life. I always hated seeing my mother cry. With that in mind, I turned from my children and tried to picture a better life that's not mine.
That was the Muncie Girls with 5 Miles. It's a song you can get on their Bandcamp page. It was it's actually a demo version of the song, and they released this as a name your own price download, with all the proceeds going to the Cavern, a club or a place in Exeter, a local venue that was damaged in a really, really bad fire. It's a great song, and it goes to a great cause. So if you have a couple extra bucks, head over there and give that a download. Give them a couple bucks so they can help spread the love. Muncie Girls, fantastic band from Exeter in the UK. I love this band. Their full-length album that they put out last year, it was just blew me away, and I can't say enough good things. Before that, we had Michael Kane and the Morning Afters from the Adding Insult to Industry EP with Back on the Nine. And then from their debut classic EP, 3-chord Monte, that was Pegboy with Through My Fingers. I remember hearing that for the first time on MTV's 120 Minutes and loving it and having no idea what the hell it was. And that was a band that, it was years later before I really got into them. But I remember hearing that right when it came out and thinking, this is freaking great. And then they had some really cool videos, one where the lead singer was all wrapped up in saran wrap. So Pegboy from Chicago, if you've never listened to Pegboy, what the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, that's all there is to it. Their stuff is all over Spotify, Pandora. You can listen to it everywhere, so check that shit out because it is fantastic. And before that, we had the band Aim Higher. This is a project from Kevin Seconds of 7 Seconds fame. It's the title track to the EP Homemade, and this is basically something he whipped up at home and just recorded himself. It sounds something like it could have been a 7 Second song, possibly. 7 Seconds is one of the bands that has been a huge part of my life. I first heard them, I was living in Lakeland, Florida. I was a junior in high school, and there was this great show out of a community-run station in Tampa on weekday evenings called the Underground Circus. And the Wednesday night edition of the show was called Chuck Wagon, and they played kind of harder, more hardcore music, not hardcore in the sense of, Minor Threat, Gorilla Biscuits, but just less the Smiths and more 7 Seconds, stuff like that. It was this show's first place I heard 7 Seconds, the Mighty Mighty Boss Stones, All, and Bad Religion, actually. Some of this I didn't realize until later. I had a cassette that someone recorded the Chuck Wagon episode for me, and I listened to the hell out of that. But one day, they were doing an all covers episode, and it was so freaking cool. I mean, they had the Mighty Mighty Boss Stones doing, oh man, was that when they either played Sweet Emotion, their cover of Sweet Emotions, or their cover of Enter Sandman. Both came from the Where'd You Go EP that was out around that time. Again, this is like 91, 92-ish. I think 91 is when I was listening to this. They also played the Pixies cover of Head On. They did Anthrax and Public Enemy's Bring the Noise. And they played 7 Seconds cover of 99 Red Balloons. That was actually the last song they played. And I was already a fan of that song. I loved 80s new wave hits like that. And so I heard this and I was like, holy God, what is this? And I went and I picked up the album Walk Together, Rock Together, and it just knocked my socks off. It was fast, it was energetic, and this was a band that was singing about things I truly believed in. I was a kid that was I was not into drugs, so I didn't do any of that stuff. People called me straight edge. I had no idea what that meant at the time. I'm freaking 16 years old. What the fuck do I know? Pre-internet, around the time, Nirvana broke. So this is a very, very different world for you kids out there. Anywho, I got this album and I was immediately blown away. They talked about things I thought were important: anti-racism, unity, bringing people together, and these are all things I believed in and still believe in. And that record just really, really affected me. And since then, I have gotten everything that band has put out that I can get my hands on. I have pretty much every CD that they have ever put out on my shelf. The only thing I don't have a physical copy of is the Praise EP. I do have the live album that came out shortly after that, but I don't have Praise on CD. I would love to have that. I do have it digitally. Last year, 7 Seconds put out, was it last year or the year before? Within the last couple of years, 7 Seconds put out a just tremendous album called Leave Light On, and it it perfectly encapsulated this band's entire career, because there are three distinct kind of phases or eras in this band. You had the early, just straight up hardcore punk stuff. You had this middle emo-y, poppier, and even one kind of slightly grungy album side. And then you had the return to hardcore. And it was, in a lot of ways, it was more melodic hardcore than straight up hardcore. But anyway, and those are kind of the three phases. And people typically tend to like the early hardcore stuff, the stuff they put out on BYO Records. And that's where Rock Together was put out. And I'm a fan of all of it. The second thing I ever heard was that live album. And that was put out at a time right after the Praise EP, right before the Ourselves record, and it was in the band's transition, and a lot of those early hardcore bands were transitioning around that time, mid 80s, mid to late 80s. You had, the Minor Threat guys who were in Minor Threat moved on and were doing things like Dag Nasty and Embrace and later Fugazi. You had some bands that were going down the heavy metal avenue, but a lot of them weren't doing the just straight hardcore thing anymore, especially in Washington, D.C. And 7 Seconds kind of went in that same path. They went more melodic, and they put out, a few albums that are, especially the Ourselves record, which is kind of best described in a modern sense as emo. And I love that stuff. I'm a huge fan of that. They put out a record in 1999 on Side 1 Dummy called Good to Go, and it was really the return to form. But I'm someone that I adore those middle records. Interestingly, and I'm not sure how this is going to affect how people see the band, but all of the stuff on BYO Records is not available on services like Spotify. BYO has an issue with how much Spotify pays its artists, and I know that there are issues with that. I happen to use the Spotify service. I really like it, and I like listening to it knowing that there is at least some money eventually going to the artists that I'm listening to, so that's I like that. But right now, you go on Spotify and you look up 7 Seconds. You can get the Ourselves album. You can get Soul Force Revolution, which is kind of a poppier indie punky album. You can get Take It On, Take It Back, Take It Over, I think is the name of it. That's the second one they did for Side 1 Dummy. And you can get the latest album, Leave a Light On. So I really am curious in the long run, now that people get so much of their music online and from streaming services, how this is going to affect 7 Seconds as they tour going forward. Is seeing which stuff people could request, if they're going to get less requests for Here's Your Warning and more requests for Satyagraha. That would be really interesting. But anyway, Kevin Seconds, the singer of 7 Seconds, had a plethora of side projects. One that I particularly enjoy, or at least one of their albums, is a band called Drop Acid. They put out a record called Making God Smile in 1991, and it was the best way to describe it is grungy. It really had those crunchy guitars, and it's a great album. I really, really enjoy it. I'm going to play some of it on a future episode. But this newest project, Aim Higher, is just some straight up punk stuff. Kevin's also done a lot of folk stuff. He's done a lot of just him and an acoustic guitar. And it is traditional folk music. It is very much far more in line with a Woody Guthrie than what a lot of the punks gone troubadour do. So yeah, Aim Higher. Check that out. That's on Rise Records, and you can get it as a 7-inch if you're really vinyl type, or digitally. Next up, we've got the band Notches. They have a new release called Change My Mind. And this song is called Smoking Stem here on the Oklahoma Lefty Podcast.
Heard about the star inside your face. Supposed to fall around you. Tune in and compromise my way. I'd rather not just touch you. I feel alive with you. And then I'm things
Was sitting in a Burger King in Indiana. A guy walks in with a gun on his hip. Supposedly it's supposed to make me feel safer. It just makes me anxious, makes me feel like shit. Says he needs more guns and ammunition, please. Every man and woman and child should be locked and loaded onto the teeth. Oh, what a beautiful world this could be. I spent 2 months in juvenile psychiatric. My grandma brought me sweatpants and candy bars. My parents didn't visit much, I think they were embarrassed. I know I can't blame them for who they are. They filled my head with drugs I could not pronounce. I watched my roommate do his best to smash his brains out on the cinder block wall in our little room. I pretended to sleep and hoped to be home soon. We're trying on an $800 leather jacket. Just had to know what an $800 jacket felt like. Well, it felt like blood and greed and capitalism. That kid starving and freezing in the city tonight. So go to sleep now, don't you cry. We're all just doing our best not to die. So load your guns and say your prayers. Just kidding, there is no God. And a lot less greed. A Molotov cocktail into Wall Street. Oh, what a wonderful world this could be. Oh, what a wonderful world this could be. Oh, what a beautiful world this should be.
Lines in the sand, where do you stand? Battle lines are drawn. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Well, the baby boomers have their teeth, but they stuck their head right in the sand. We found their house in suburbia, we would do what we fucking can. How high your wage look kind of dead, but then they ask you why you ain't married yet. They hate they seem so long
just fine. I tried to call out, but I didn't hear an answer. You were too far away. It was the spring and my life was a patchwork of pieces, torn and tattered memories. I got the feeling yours was somehow the same. And I took to you like a bird takes to its wings. Let me in, let me in, let me in before my hands. Let me in before my hands begin. Let me in before you find that I'm hollow on the inside. Let me in before my hands begin to shake. Married in the summer, we set ourselves to fall. It weren't right, though we did the damn thing twice. Maybe I'm not the marrying kind. Let me in, let me in, let me in before my hands. Let me in before my hands begin. Let me in before you find that I'm hollow on the inside. Let me in before my hands begin to shake. Let me in before my hands begin to shake. Let me in before my hands begin.
From 2013's outstanding Stay Reckless album, that was Austin Lucas with Let Me In. Now, Mr. Lucas, he put out a record last year. It was one that had been in the can for a while and just for various different reasons had a hard time getting released. He is working on a new record that plans on coming out in 2018. He's doing some crowdfunding for that. You can find out all about that on his website, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. Or you can just listen to us next week, because next week Mr. Lucas will be a guest on the Oklahoma Lefty Podcast. Looking very forward to having him on the show. Cannot wait. I love his music. I got to meet him. He opened up for Drag the River as part of the Southern Sound Series concert at the Will Rogers Theater in Oklahoma City. I think that was in January 2015 or so. And he put on an awesome set. It was just him and a guitar. And the man can play, the man can sing, and he's just one of the best things going on in alt country today. Can't say enough good things about him, and I really look forward to hearing his new songs. Before that, we heard Worship This from the Solidarity Mixtape Volume 2, which is a compilation of like 52 some odd different bands and artists. All the proceeds after Bandcamp fees, because it's available on the Bandcamp, because that's where everything good available is anymore. All proceeds are going to Planned Parenthood. This is another case of musical artists getting together and supporting issues and causes that they believe in, and I think that's pretty cool. No matter what you think of Planned Parenthood or any of those types of debates, it's cool to see people get together and standing up for what they believe in. So this song was called Lonnie and Clyde. It was recorded during the same sessions that gave us the Mint record, which came out last year, which is outstanding. Yeah, that's I can't wait to hear what Worship This does next. I love that band. Before that, from their brand new album Tonight, we heard The Warning Shots with The Kids of Today. And then we had some Two Cow Garage from Brand New Flag with A Lullaby of Sorts. And the title track from toyGuitar's Move Like a Ghost EP that also came out last year. Excellent stuff. Next up, we have Snowball 2 with the song Anais and Me from the album Flashes of Quincy. This is brand new stuff. Really good indie rock band. Got to check them out here on the Oklahoma Lefty Podcast.
Still a fascist.
from the incredible new album Dear Avalanche. That was Lights and Motion with the track We Only Have Forever. Lights and Motion is this project. It's all done by one dude. He's from Europe, I believe Sweden. I can't remember. I'd have to actually go back and look at my notes. Anywho, it does cinematic post-rock like no one else. And this album, Dear Avalanche, which is the latest one, is just phenomenal. And we have something cool going on right now. We have a giveaway. The great folks at Deep Elm Records, the label that put this out, decided to hook us up with some free copies, digital downloads of the album for you, my fair listeners and readers. So, I've got the instructions in the show notes of this episode, but here's the deal. If you could send me a tweet at Oklahoma Lefty and send the tweet with the hashtag OLP for Oklahoma Lefty Podcast giveaway. So hashtag OLP giveaway. Send me a tweet and I will hook you up with a copy of the record for the first 10 folks. So do that, and that would be awesome. So yeah, that's it. Oh, I also forgot, you have to follow me. So it's a 3-step process. Follow me on Twitter at Oklahoma Lefty. Send me a tweet at Oklahoma Lefty with the hashtag OLP giveaway. And the first 10 folks to do that will get a free copy of Lights in Motion Dear Avalanche. I truly cannot say enough good things about this record. It blows me away. Before that, we had Reviver from their latest EP single with the song Shaggy. And that's going to do it for the Oklahoma Lefty Podcast for this week. We are going to take it out with our good friends DeForesters. They were on the show last week. This is from their brand new album, Leonard. It comes out at the end of this week. You need to go check it out because it is freaking awesome. The song is called Municipal Geography Lesson, and it's here on the Oklahoma Lefty Podcast. Thanks for listening, everyone. Take care.
For all the crossroads to Kensington, for all the douchebags of King Street West, for all the Cramptons and Rexdale, I wouldn't trade you, I wouldn't trade you. For all the projects in Regent Park, Jarvis hookers and Bay Street suits, forever he has all the business me. I wouldn't trade you, I wouldn't trade you.
This is a tasty burger.